Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. There's a new coalition that aims to promote responsible gambling in Quebec, and I know this has been something that a lot of people are talking about. Just think about all the stories we've spoken about on this program. You know, thoughts of putting a mini casino or gambling parlor at the Bell Center. You turn on the hockey game, and everywhere you look, there's an advertisement for gambling within that broadcast. The Quebec Online Gaming Coalition wants to look at regulating the industry better and protecting consumers while also increasing the government's revenue safely. And with more on this, we're joined in studio by Nathalie Bergeron, a spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. Nathalie, welcome to the program. Welcome in studio.
Thank you for having me.
First things first. So I called it gambling on purpose in my introduction. Your group is called the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. I find calling it gaming is like trying to sugarcoat what it really is. So can we just get this out here? Like, you know, because I look at the people, the founding members, right, of this coalition. Betway, Bet99, DraftKings, a lot of gambling companies here. So just who makes up the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition?
So the coalition regroups the major players in the market. So the most important sites, you named some of them. Most Quebecois will be familiar with our members. It's interesting that you bring the difference in terminology. Online gaming has gained so much popularity over the past few years. It's an entertainment for most people, which is why we refer to it as gaming. Gotcha.
But when in this instance, we're talking about people who are spending money here, right? This is not like they are spending their money in order to game, not like an app on your phone where you're, Candy Crush and you're just, playing a fun game. This is people spending their own money in order to entertain themselves.
Yes.
Okay. So what's your goal, right? Because I think everyone is freaking out a bit because we went from not seeing it anywhere to we turn on the TV and every second commercial is gambling advertisements. So what's your goal at the end of the day for your coalition?
Well, the first thing we want to do is ask the government to modernize the current system, which is completely outdated. We're looking at a system that was created at a time where people had to physically go to a casino or to the races to place bets. Nowadays, a lot of people are doing that on their phone, in their living rooms. They're doing it online, and the system is not taking that into account in any way. Okay. So we're asking for two things. First, the establishment of a licensing system for the private operators, and two, the creation of an independent regulatory body that would supervise the whole of the online gaming market.
Is this why when I'm watching the Stanley Cup playoffs or I'm watching the Blue Jays play on TV, the small print on all of these ads from some of the companies you represent says Ontario only? Is this basically so we can still have that type of mechanisms that they have in Ontario in Quebec?
So Ontario has actually taken a leadership by regulating the market and creating that licensing system that we're asking for in Quebec.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're looking for a similar system in Ontario that they have in Ontario to Quebec.
Exactly.
What would that change? Like, right? Because I know people that are using these gambling apps here in Quebec, right? Are they using it right now in sort of a gray, murky area?
It is non-regulated. And because the system doesn't address the reality of internet. So we can keep putting our head in the sand and not look at the situation, or we can take action. And what that would do is, one, allow the government to better protect consumers, and second, allow the private operators to contribute to society by taxes and sharing revenues with the government.
I find this so interesting because normally, business, the last thing they want is they're like, hey, you're going to let us operate and you won't regulate us? Fine, we love this gray area. So why in this case are you saying no, please, independent regulator? Why would you ask for that? Most businesses would say, please get away with regulation.
Our members want to operate in regulated markets, and they do so across the world. And it's a model that's been implemented in most of the G7 countries. If you're looking at the UK, you're looking at some states in the US. the Scandinavian countries. There's regulations in place, and that system already works. We're only asking to be a good corporate citizen and contribute both in taxes and revenues, but in addition to that, continue to help promote responsible gaming.
We're with Nathalie Bergeron, a spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. So what's the hang-up on the government side? Because the one thing government loves is regulation. You want regulation? Yeah, come on board. What's their holdup?
I think you would have to ask them. I think we need to help them get to the conclusion that they have an opportunity to step up and do it. It's interesting to see that Ontario has done it before. Even more interesting is that Ontario inspired themselves from a report that was written for a previous Quebec government in 2014. So there was an online task force from Dr. Nadeau that came out with 5 recommendations, including 2 of the ones that we are proposing today.
Gotcha. And Ontario ended up picking that up sooner than Quebec.
They've implemented what we've been recommending for, and what experts have been recommending for 9 years, yet Quebec is still stalling.
Last week I had a guest on this program, and they came on because they're part of the people that are trying to get the ads that we're seeing on television right now off the air. They want regulation on that. They see what happened in Ontario, and now it's just wall-to-wall ads. And when I did the interview, we have this text line here, right, where people can text the show. I was amazed. My text line blew up with people who are quite simply fed up of the ads they're getting from the Ontario stuff, right, when they watch a sporting event. I got text messages from a woman saying, you know what, I've got to get rid of these ads. It ruined my marriage. It ruined my life. So this touches upon people. So to the people that are so worried right now at the increase in gambling and its prevalence in society on the up and up, used to be you'd hide it. Oh, I got a bookie. You wouldn't tell people. Now people are just talking about it openly. What do you say to those people that are saying, whoa, actually, no, this is a bad thing. Too much prevalence of gambling and legalizing this is actually a bad thing overall.
A licensing system would allow the government to put controls in place, and that includes the advertising. It would allow the government to decide how much is acceptable. I'm the first one to say it. There's a lot. I watch TV. I watch hockey as well. But a lot is subjective. It's not up to us to decide how much is too much. It's to a government or to a regulatory body to do so.
Who are the minister or ministers that you have to deal with the most on this file?
Well, the Minister of Finance, but public health as well as a say. And we want to look at what public health says and what the experts are saying. And with the creation of an independent body that would allow the experts to come up with the highest levels and the best measures in place, the best practices in terms of responsible gaming and helping gamers who may indulge too much or have problematic behaviors.
Do you think the government wants to keep gambling in Quebec? The government wants to keep gambling for itself. In the case of sports gambling, they want mise au jeu, and that's it, and that's all. Do you think that's what's behind their hesitance?
Well, we can live in a Care Bear world and think that the internet doesn't spread across the globe
doesn't exist, yeah.
As long as we do that, the government is not taking advantage of the money that is sitting there. We estimate that would be revenues of over $230 million a year that the government could go and get in addition to what they're already getting.
Nathalie, this is a fascinating discussion. I think there's going to lead to much more conversation over the next little while in this province. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
That's Nathalie Bergeron, spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition.